Okay, my name is Brian. First, thank you for everybody for arranging this and preparing everything. And thank you, Joy, for pushing me to do this, for all your help with everything. So I'm a PhD student in the anthropology department, and I'm going to tell you about how I'm using VR and 360 video as a methodology for my research. I'm just going to kind of read a little bit about how I'm doing that first, and then I'm going to show you like a video that I made for my fieldwork. Hopefully this will make some sense. I don't know. This is just like a methodological thing, how I'm applying VR. Okay, so I'm going to read you something I wrote. I'm going to try to not be too anthropological about it so it makes sense. So my work employs critical visual ethnography. Is that too loud? Is that okay? Okay, it's echoing. By using virtual participant observation, by having my interlocutors, which are the people I study, or that are my collaborators I study with. First of all, sorry, I work in the country of Bhutan. I'm looking at, I live with nomadic yak herders part of the time, and I'm looking at how the government's development policy is impacting different people in the country, and how it's kind of leaving people out. So my interlocutors actively, sorry, I'll start again. My work employs critical visual ethnography by using virtual participant observation, by having my interlocutors actively involved in providing feedback by observing the researcher in the field site. Sorry, my voice is a little crackly in my throat. I don't think it's helping. maybe if you have. Thank you. Sorry. In some ways, my interlocutors act as the researcher by providing feedback on their own experience. I made use of 360 video, audio, and virtual reality experiences to understand the relationship between this gross national happiness policy, which is what they call it in Bhutan. Thank you. Thank you. Where was I? And so the relationship between this development policy and the people I was living with, which were Brokpa and Lunops, their experiences of development. I understand their experiences. So this methodology is important because 360 video captures much of the reality of the field site and captures our participatory experience in real time of the whole environment. After my interlocutor reviews, so I put the videos into the VR headset, then I have them view it, and I have them tell me what's important to them, what's going on, because I don't know. I could tell them what I'm interested in. They could say, that's not important to us. What's important to us is behind you. You completely missed it. And so it's helpful for them to let me know what's going on, what's important to them. So after they view the 360 videos, I can interview them and get feedback about their virtual experience. I can actually re-watch the videos too, just to like understand them differently now that I have more information. So I use a 360 video audio camera with lenses on the front and back, which together record 360 degrees of video and audio. In addition, the VR glasses will allow the viewer to interact with the 360 degrees audio video and create their own experience, looking, listening, and moving their head in any direction. My interlocutors are the yak herders, government officials, and the G&H Commission, the Land Commission, the Forestry Service, the Ministry of Home and Cultural Affairs, the architectures of this G&H policy, all these different places. So I actually had these videos of the experiences of the herders, and I went to people that wrote policy to try to get money for these people. I went to politicians, I brought the VR headset, had them look at it so they could understand better what's going on with their lives, because this is really hard to get to, many people don't go there. So this gives them a little bit of an insight on what's going on up there. Let's see, let me skip ahead here. So I record these interviews I have with the 360 video by placing the camera in a position that will allow the whole environment, 360 degrees, to be viewed. The view is a tool to tell their stories. By mounting the camera on a yak, which is they're herders, so they have a relationship with these animals. This also allows me to collect data about animal relationships with herders, portray a unique non-human point of view, seeing things from an anthropologist or a yak's spatial coordinates, though notably not necessarily their visual perspective, will tell me about power, identity, and resistance by focusing on positionalities of different actors and the stakes involved in their complicated relationships with one another. Excuse me. I also explore the relationship between visual experience and the Brokba ethnic identity, happiness, and hegemony. So why is 360 immersive experience novel? Why is it helpful? So 360 VR is novel because it is an interactive immersive experience, which you guys already know now, that allows viewers to be involved in creating their own perspectives using the visual rather than simply acting as passive observers receiving another person's view. Viewers can create their own experience by immersing themselves at a particular time and place in real time. This allows a collaborative relationship between interlocutors and researchers to develop a multi-perspective analysis, engaging in and debunking the ethnographic gaze. It will open a new way to approach and allow people to see using immersive experiences to appreciate people's experiences and reevaluate their own positionality. My 360 VR immersive experiences are not centered on the anthropologist and their view of the world, but rather will start by focusing on the view of my interlocutors. 360 video immersive experiences are sensory experiences that offer a different type of knowledge. This is what I argue, at least. So I use 360 VR visual anthropology as a method to create knowledge through seeing, hearing, feeling, and experiencing being there. The experience is the knowledge. Images are a language that produce knowledge differently than written language that serve as an argument. Our consciousness, McDougall argues, is a conglomeration of our thoughts, emotions, imagination, and how we react to sensorial experiences. Further, he argues that to use language as a means to understand images, paintings, and photographs are insufficient because it lacks the sufficient way we create knowledge through our experience. Visual anthropology, described as anthropology beyond the text, has been neglected and unexplored by academic researchers. The audiovisual offers us a knowledge of how the real is made by looking at time and space and relationships between people and places, and how people feel, react, express, and represent their ideals and concerns. It is necessary for anthropologists to look from the interlocutor's point of view as a starting point to create and build relationships. This reimagining of ethnography focuses us to rethink the types of knowledge anthropology produces, the goals of anthropology, and relationships the anthropologist has with his or her or their interlocutors. Academics studying history and anthropology do not seem to focus on the knowledge of being. It is the sensorial experience that helps us create this knowledge of being. We develop this knowledge of being in a particular way that is different and separate from writing and thinking, McDougall explains. We are doing something more deliberate than seeing, yet more unguarded than thinking. He says, we learn to inhabit what we see. He explains too, looking carefully is a way of knowing that is different from thinking. Paying attention is not a matter of projecting oneself onto things in themselves, but of freeing one's consciousness to perceive them. So I use 360 VR to create sensorial experiences, to attempt to capture the knowledge of being and knowing through experience rather than estimating through thinking. So visual methods, history, sensorial methods. I situate my work and approach within the broader field of visual anthropology, drawing on a more critical use of imagery. Photography used by early anthropologists was instrumental in the colonial project, serving as a racial technology of colonialism to employ predetermined ideas of types of culture to reinforce structures of power. A key starting point to decolonizing anthropology is employing visual methods as pedagogies of the senses, to see, hear, and feel from a different vantage point. I engage with sensorial methods through 360 VR to learn and unlearn how visual images have reified colonial power structures, and further use sensorial methods as a tool to teach anthropology differently. The approach to the sensorial should be multimodal, as in different encounters and different mediums such as the media. The multimodal allows a more collaborative and political approach, is open to inventive encounters, relations, and experimental modes of resistance. My use of visual methods will work to disrupt and erase categories defined by race and undermine the colonial relationships that decontextualize people from the temporal, social, political, physical environment and frame them as other through self-contained racial categories. Let's see, skip this. So museums have reflected racial categories in a hierarchy of cultures using visual objects classified and categorizing cultural and ritual objects by race. Live exhibitions and film othering people as lesser and primitive compared to Western people and culture. Okay, let's see. So I'm going to show you a video in a second, but this I'm going to give you a little framework for what it is. So this is going to be a camera that's placed on the horns of a yak. It's a 360 camera. So this is some background. So I employed a multi-species ethnographic method, a 360-degree camera mounted on a yak's horns. I also did this on the head of a horse, a dog, an elephant, people. So this offers, I would say this offered a decentering perspective on herding life, slowing human perception to the rhythms of the animals. The resulting footage challenged the human-centric views of mobility and labor, offering new modes of experiencing pastoral life and reconsidering the role of animals in shaping Bhutan's economy and environment. So let's see. So also, this is 360, so I can move the cursor around and move it around. So here we go. Okay, sorry about that. Okay.
Motion stabilization is awesome.
Yeah, they
How'd you attach it?
I got these screws. No. No, it's like a headband.
So yeah, it's okay with it?
Yeah, it's just like a headband on the horns.
Oh, okay, like between the horns.
So it wasn't very. No yaks were heard. In this. Yeah, you should try living this. Just kidding. Yeah, no, it was pretty. Except for when it rained. Yeah. So when you have this on the VR headset, which I have, if anyone wants to see it, you can look anywhere. You see the sky. See behind you. You see, look at your body. Oh, I'm the yak.
How did the yak react when you
Put it on? I didn't put it on. Someone else. I mean, I think that they had a relationship with animals, so they kind of trusted each other. Oops. So this is just like one example. I have other. This is like a small clip from a bigger.
Is this in Tibet?
This is in Bhutan.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
where are the humans?
Humans. I think they're behind somewhere.
There
Yeah, they are. I'm behind.
Did you check the weather before you flew swimming?
You'll see in a second. So I had someone watch this, a classmate of mine, and at this point they're like, when they're taking the camera off, they go, "Oh, I realized I wasn't the person, I was the yak." And someone else, they say, I turned around with the VR headset and I looked behind me, I saw my body, and I was like, I realized I was the yak also. I don't know. I'm trying to see how I can use this to think for my research. And
So these are not wild animals, or?
so they're yak herders. So they're part of they have their herds, and they come and milk them like twice a day, feed them. So they're kind of
They're sort of domesticated.
yeah. But they let them go during the day to go feed, and then we have to go find them and bring them back. Yeah,
Real life.
yeah. It's pretty tough actually. But yeah, that's all I have.
I may have missed this. Is there a place where we can access this?
I think so. I mean, someone showed me how to put it on YouTube. I think it's on YouTube, this specific thing.
Okay.
I'll figure out where it is. I think I can figure it out. I'll try to figure it out right now.
Are we able to experience it wearing a headset or?
I'm not sure. I think so. Because I think on YouTube there's a way to do it.
There is.
Do you want
yeah,
their
yeah,
names?
yeah.
I mean,
Oh, okay.
If I have my headset, yeah, I'll do it.
Okay, I'll do it.
People wanna-
Just quick follow up. You mentioned there were other animals or other scenarios that you had done.
So the herders had a dog to detect animals at
really
night.
well with
So I put it on the dog's head.
You're already.
Also, they use horses to like transport things. I put on different horses. They're like it's like a mixed mule.
Mixture. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have different ones of those. I was in another part of the country with elephants.
Oh,
I had it on people. I had it on myself. When they were milking, I had like the milking can.
Oh, very
They
cool.
were collecting incense. I had it on a machine that they used to like make cheese and butter from the milk.
That POV.
So I just feel experimented.
well,
Very interesting. Thank you. Who else had a question?
Be that person, but it was more of a comment. But I think it's a really cool way of getting past the anthropological conundrum of like you always being biased of not having like the emic perspective, and that if you can get them to record what they're seeing and you can watch it in a different way and like kind of embody their experience, which I think is really cool. So instead of observing, you can like embody what they're seeing more.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping.
I think it's a great, I think it's
Yeah.
really cool.
Thank you.
Yep.
Total curiosity. What is your research question that you're trying
My
to?
research question? I was trying to learn about this development policy and how people are being left out in different ways and how it's impacting people's daily lives in different parts of the country. And specifically, I was being more focused on the herders because they seem to be left out of the policy. And that's kind of this, basically. As things are changing quickly, I want to understand how that's impacting people.